You're on to another edition of the Power Circuit program, proudly brought to you by the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN. The power utility company strives to keep you informed about the transformational activities and its role of managing the national electricity grid. Let's take a look at the headline. Federal government hopeful on raising national power grid to 7,000 megawatts. TCN successfully transmits multiple all-time peak electricity so far this year. The power circuit crew was at the Ikeja transmission station in Lagos, where an official explained how the enhanced facility delivers bulk power to 3 states' international customers. In the interview segment, the acting regional transmission manager of the Lagos region in Lagos State, Engineer Ajiboye Oluwabwenga, will be speaking on the continuous improvement of bulk power transmission in the region, as the region serves 3 states and is also a gateway for electricity exports. I am Amara Agugoesi, anchoring this half-hour program. As the year 2021 begins, officials in the power sector have taken stock of activities and performance last year, with a view towards surpassing targets this year. The Special Advisor on Policy to the Minister of Power, Mr. Abba Aliyu, and the Director of Renewables and Rural Power Access at the Federal Ministry of Power, Engineer Farouk Yabo, had a review of the sector recently. Stay with us for the highlights.
Topping the discussion was the continuous drive of the government to improve the capacity of the electricity value chain. According to the Director of Renewables and Rural Power Access, Engineer Farouk Yabo, the ministry has key projections for 2021, and that includes hitting 7,000 megawatts of electricity by the end of 2021 through the Siemens Presidential Power Initiative.
As we speak, we have about 13,000 megawatts of installed capacity, whereas our generation transmission stands around 8,000. Meanwhile, the total delivered peak power remains at 5,500. So the Siemens program, which is mainly coming to align the value chain, I think should be one of those things that we need to see value in. The target is for by the end of 2021 to have 7,000 megawatts, and by the end of 2023, 11,000, and so on to 2025, where we have 25 megawatts.
There was also the assurance that the multilateral funding pegged for the expansion and rehabilitation of the transmission network by the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, is ready for utilization to complement the Siemens power sector overall program.
I think this is being complemented strongly by the current TCN Transmission Rehabilitation and Expansion Program, which is also heavily supported by the donors. I think we currently have about $1.6 billion available for this particular work. The issue of the legacy projects like Mambila, projects like Zungeru, projects like Kashimbila, Dadinkoa. Happily enough, 2020 has seen us completing and energizing Kashimbila and Dadinkoa projects. It has taken us to almost over 80% of completion in Zungeru, 700 megawatts. Of course, we are mostly aware of the significant progress that we've made in Mambila hydropower project, where in the last 6-7 months that we took over as a presidential committee, we have been able to do quite a number of things. As we speak, surveyors are on site, enumerators are on site, trying for the first time to ensure that Mambila actually has a project site. So I think these are very significant development in 2020, which we intend to build on in 2021.
Engineer Yabo also lauded improved power supply and improvement in 2020, which he said was a great departure from the past. He added that the national grid achieved an all-year peak of 115 megawatts per hour on December 11, 2020. Noting that this was as a result of the realignments of the Nigerian electricity supply industry (NESI) by the Ministry of Power.
I would like to focus specifically here on the grid power supply, which truly has surprised many experts in the sense that whereas there is major impact, negative impact on the COVID-19 on the sector, but we've seen some new trends which are quite amazing. Typically, in this kind of the time of the year, January, December, is a peak of the dry season, and so we usually have very poor supplies. But it seems we have consistently been adding new capacity, has been hitting new targets, or rather new high peaks.
On his part, the special advisor on policy to the minister, Mr. Abba Aliyu, the current administration has continued strong reforms and is aligning the electricity value chain through the 5 focus areas of the Minister of Power, Engineer Saleh Mamman. Aliyu explained that the federal government solar home system scheme will provide access to electricity for 5 million homes for 25 million individuals.
The guideline, the way it was structured systematically to, one, make sure that Nigerians have the panels, have access to a solar home system or mini grid, but at the same time, at the back end, make sure that it creates job opportunities and stimulate economic activities. So it was carefully crafted to create that job opportunities, and that is why the target is to generate 250,000 direct job opportunities out of the scheme. On the projections for 2021, Aliyu said the ongoing initiatives and policies are bound to yield more results. What is important is in 2021 is for us to see the implementation of these policies. The Presidential Power Initiative, the federal government has established the FGN Power Co. That is an SPV with the responsibility for the implementation of the Presidential Power Initiative. And that is a great achievement. And we are very optimistic this 2021 we will see a lot of implementation of the project under the Presidential Power Initiatives. They had already determined phase 1, 2, and 3, and even on that phase 1 they have determined quick wins. That is project that can easily be done, and a lot of Nigeria to start to see the impact of it. So it's beyond talking, it's for Nigeria to start to see the result, and I'm optimistic in 2021 we'll start to see the impact of that. Then the implementation of the 5 million solar homes is something that I'm also very optimistic that in 2021 we'll start to see it. In fact, this particular month, January, a number of deployments will commence.
The Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, has successfully transmitted multiple all-time peak electricity of 5,584.4 megawatts and 5,552.8 megawatts recorded in the power sector to start the year on a sound footing. While the latest all-time peak of 5,584.4 megawatts, which was transmitted by TCN, was recorded on January 7, 2021 by 9:15 p.m. It was 31.6 megawatts higher than the previous all-time peak of 5,552.8 megawatts recorded at 8:15 p.m. on January 6, 2021.
According to the General Manager Public Affairs at TCN, Ndidi Mba, the new multiple peak is an indication of the gradual but consistent growth in the capability of the power sector under the present administration. Recall that TCN transmitted 4 all-time peak power records last year. The first 2 records were attained in August, while the other 2 peaks were recorded in October 2020. With the capacity to transmit 8,100 megawatts, TCN successfully transmitted the enhanced peak through the national grid, signifying greater improvement of the power grid. In his comments, the acting managing director and CEO of TCN, Engineer Sule Ahmed Abdulaziz, encouraged all sector players to work together to ensure sustained improvement in the power sector. He said TCN has continued to build more substations as well as install additional transformers in various substations nationwide. The company is also restricting old transmission lines to further increase their capacity to transmit more bulk electricity for discos nationwide. As at date, TCN is able to efficiently wheel increased generation through the national grid, said Engineer Abdulaziz.
The power circuit continues after this break.
Did you know that our high-tension transmission cables were built to withstand high temperatures except artificially induced ones such as fire? Did you know that burning bush or refuse dumps by TCN transmission tower base or along the transmission line's right-of-way is an offense? Did you know that the fire can cause high-tension transmission lines to snap and fall to the ground, electrocuting living things within the line radius? Did you know that extreme fire can cause the legs of transmission towers to buckle, and that buckling of the main frame of a tower would lead to its collapse and may even pull down other towers along that transmission line's route, causing untold damage to the line? Now that you know. Yes, now that you know, TCN is calling on all citizens of Nigeria to please desist from destroying our collective national investments. Be careful, do not set fire on trash or burn bush beside transmission towers or under electricity lines nationwide. Help us preserve the transmission grid and save the nation from blackout. TCN, transmitting electricity in the most efficient and effective manner.
The Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, has the core mandate of evacuating power from generation plants and transmitting the same to distribution load centers for onward supply to consumers nationwide. To demonstrate this daily activity, the power circuit crew was recently at the Ikeja West Area Control Center in Lagos under the Lagos region of TCN to observe the operation of the facility, which is the largest power transmission station in Lagos.
Inside the control room of the 330 132 kilovolts Ikeja West station of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, the operation staff were busy about their roles in keeping the power evacuation and transmission activities going. The senior manager, system operations and area control supervisor at Ikeja West, Engineer Olale Richard, explained the concept of power transmission at the control center of the facility.
We receive generation at 330 kV voltage level. With the use of our transformer, we step it down to 122 kV voltage level. The 122 kV voltage level we transmit to our satellite station. We have about 14 satellite stations. From the satellite station, the power is also being wheeled to the distribution. To Ego distribution, Ikeja distribution, and also Ibadan distribution.
This huge facility does not only serve its coverage areas in the Lagos region, it also connects an international power transmission line that delivers power to the republics of Benin and Togo.
At the same time, this station is like a nodal point where we receive power at 330 kV level, and at the same time we send power at 330 kV level to some other area control center. Example, Akomba 330 kV station is in the suburb of Lagos. That's Ruliri environment. In addition, we have the international line, Sakate 330 kV line, the wheel power to Benin Republic. That's under the WAP arrangement.
Engineer Olale further revealed that the transmission station has huge power transmission capacity that is also being expanded to strengthen the entire national power grid.
Our transformer capacity is 1,050 MVA, 330/132/33 kV.
There are 9 feeders operated at the 330 kilovolt voltage level from the transmission station, including the international power transmission line to Benin Republic.
We have H1W, we call it Shoko 330 kV line. We have R1W, that's another Shoko 330 kV line. We have Akomba 330 kV lines 1 and 2. We have our touch shop. That with N5W, 330 kV line. We have 18, that's NCW. We have OKRO lines 1 and 2. So some of these lines and also secretary 30 kV line that goes to Benin Republic. Then some of these lines link up to generating station. So we use those lines to evacuate power generated to our station, to our buses, and from our buses we wheel it out again. After we might have step it down with the use of our transformer to 132. So we wheel it to our satellite station. And to mention a few, the satellite station, we have a Limosho TS, supplied by a Limosho line, Ogba TS, alongside TS, supplied by a Limosho line. We have Agbara Ojo Ebaro under the other Eco distribution to supply them through Agbara lines 1 and 2. We have the Ijibo lines 1 and 2. We supply Ikeja distribution company. We have Ota lines 1 and 2. We supply Ibadan and part of Ikeja distribution company. And also we have a station beside us there, we call it Ayobo. That one supplies Ikeja distribution company. And also OKRO is one of our stations. OKRO also operates at 330, 132, and 3 kV voltage level. They supply Ikeja and part of the department.
You are on to the interview segment of this program. We have the Acting Regional Transmission Manager of the Lagos region, Engineer Ajiboye Oluwabenga, with us. He speaks about the strategies TCN has deployed in transforming operations in the region. The region is a major connector for local and international bulk power transmission. Hear him speak.
Can you explain the process of power transmission and the role of TCN in the power sector?
We receive power from generation, not necessarily a particular one because it's a grid. TCN as a whole is a grid. We receive power on the grid from our major substation, that is 330 kV substation. So from there we step it down to 132. We now evacuate it to what we call 132 kV, 33 kV substation. At 33 level is where we have interface with the disco, and that is how we now wheel the power directly to the disco. It's either they take it on 33 or they step it down in their injection substation to 11 kV and feed more customers.
What are the recent major power projects and installations executed in the region?
The major project we have done is just to make sure we ease the evacuation of power, like the installation of breaker, relocation of indoor that are giving us problem to outdoor. Those are the ones that we did recently during this era of COVID. So as we are talking to you, we have completed some breaker installation, 330 kV and 132 kV. And some are still ongoing at Egbe. As at today, at Oworoshoki substation, we are trying to relocate the 33 kV indoor that has been giving us problem outside, so that the ease of maintenance will be there and evacuation will be seamless.
Are there still capital projects that were disrupted by the COVID-19 onset?
The capital projects are not ongoing now. We have finished most of them before the COVID, but we are preparing to receive funding or direct work from the corporate headquarters soon.
How would you describe the interface between TCN and the power distribution companies?
It's very cordial. We have been having series of meetings, and we have scheduled meetings every quarterly with both Eco, Ikeja and Ibadan also. So that is where we trash out some gray issues that are not well pleasant to both of us. But at the same time, we have been working without problem.
TCN has continued to implement its transmission expansion plan nationwide. What are the specific plans for the Lagos region?
We have ongoing plan, substation and lines. We are in top gear to secure the release of the land for the 330 kV so-called Epe. That is an expansion project. We have another double cycle line coming from Omotosho to Epe. We have a proposed substation that is going to be 2 by 300 MVA capacity at Likosi. And another line will go from that place. We have another plan for the extension around MFM for another 330 kV substation. As we're talking to you, we have a lot of expansion in pipeline. Some have reached the stage of even deploying transformer. We are planning at Okearo to increase the capacity by 2 by 60 MVA 132 kV 33 kV power transformer. We have expanded Egbin. You know Egbin used to be 330 132, but we have put 33 there now to feed the host community and the environs. So a 30 MVA is there. And another plan is on the pipeline to extend that Egbin with either 100 MVA or 60 MVA. So to cater for the community and the environs also. So those are the proposed plan. Some, when we call them plan, we are actually actualizing. Like we are saying now, the Maryland substation will be rehabilitated. We are going to replace all the transformer there with 100 MVA each. It's not going to go to 3 by 100 MVA. So things like that are going on. At Egbin, as I've told you, we have, as at now, 2 by 150 MVA. Plan is on the way to redeploy another 300 MVA. The plate is there to the place so that we can increase capacity in that axis. Okearo is also there. We are planning it also.
TCN is working to connect the Eco-Atlantic City. What is the updates on this?
It's going on fine as planned. The Lagos State has really assisted us. The marking of the right-of-ways have been done by Lagos State. So we are at the stage, and the studies have been concluded. So by the time we are delaying the demolition, so that as we are doing demolition, we are doing erection. We don't want to do demolition and leave it for some time for people to encroach again. So in as much, immediately we get the approval or the contractor is deployed to commence the erection of the tower towards the substation, then the Lagos State will go ahead with the demolition. The marking has been done.
That was the acting regional transmission manager of the Lagos region of TCN, Engineer Ajiboye Oluwagbenga, and you heard him speak of the expansion plans and transmission capacity of the company in the region. We promise to bring you more informative interviews about the activities of TCN. As we sign out on this episode, let's take a look at the stories again. Federal government hopeful on raising national power grid to 7,000 megawatts. TCN successfully transmits multiple all-time peak electricity so far this year. At the Ikeja transmission station in Lagos, an official says the facility has been enhanced to deliver bulk power to 3 states and up to Benin Republic. And you heard from the acting regional transmission manager of Lagos region, Engineer Ajiboye Oluwagbenga, on how TCN has transformed bulk power transmission in the region, being a crucial connector for the national grid and for electricity exports. We are glad you always stay with us on the Power Circuit program. You can view this episode and others on TCN YouTube channel. Please interact with us on these platforms because TCN needs your support to advance its mandate. The second wave of the coronavirus is on. Ensure you stay safe. So keep observing the safety protocols of non-pharmaceutical interventions like wearing a mask, washing or sanitizing your hands, and keeping physical distance as directed by the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC. I am Amara Agugoisi. Enjoy the rest of the day.